So at first I have to thank the organizer to have invited me in a so beautiful day. So I will speak on behalf of three co-workers. And I will present you a study that we did several years ago. And we have followed 155 bathhouses during 10 years in the southern part of Belgium. We have tested different biotopes, different types of bathhouses, different orientation, and different supports. So just a brief description about Wallonia. It's a small, not country, but, area, heavily populated, but we have still 30% of our territory where we have forests. So as I said, it's a quite old study. We begin in 88, and during 10 years, we have followed more than 100 bathhouses. We did it in all Wallonia in 7 different parts and in different biotopes. But it's not really biotopes. We have looked to the area who surrounded the places where the bathhouses are, and we have seen that we had forest or garden around village or large ponds. So that's the map of Wallonia, and as you know, we have 5 provinces in Wallonia, and we had bathhouses in each of those provinces, but most of our bathhouses are located in the Luxembourg province, where we have really more forest. We have used only wood bathhouses because, as you remember, it's a quite old study. We had different types. This one was maybe the best one. It's with a narrow inner volume. It's easy to build because it's only up 2 boards, one up and one rear, and there is a grid split between those 2 boards. The other types were here. This was mostly used in UK with a greater inner volume, but quite small bathhouses. This one is a very big bathhouse, very heavy and very difficult to hang in the trees, in fact. And this one is intermediate. The entrance is quite flat, but there is still big inside volume. We also use hollow logs, though mostly we didn't cut trees for this, but when we found trees, sometimes they were rot inside, and so we cut the log up and down, and we perform a hole in the down part of the log. Where do we place those bathhouses? We place at a height between 3 and 5 meters. It's just for practical reason, because so where people are walking in the forest, they can't reach the bathhouse. And with a ladder, it's quite easy for us to access. About 5 meters, it's really more difficult because you have to follow all those bathhouses each year. We have placed it mostly on trees, but also on huts. We use mostly aluminum nails. That's just a practical reason, because most of the trees are destined to do boards. So the people are not very happy if we use iron pieces, because then we can destroy the saw when it goes to the industry. And also we place it in cluster from 3 to 8. That's also for practical reason, because we have to follow a lot of bathhouses, so it's more easy if you follow just small groups than to find bathhouses everywhere. And we also cut branches near the entrance. We don't know if there is a real reason, but we saw that those branches can help predators to catch bats, and so maybe it's better without any branch. Nearly all the bathhouses were visited each year, mostly at the end of summer. We did that to avoid disturbance because we were afraid if there was a maternity that this could disturb and that could be bad for the young bats. And we mostly didn't see bats, but we mostly noticed the presence of droppings. So, the assessment of the occupation. So each year we had to clean the bathhouses because it was, as I said, mostly we didn't see any bats, but we were only looking for the droppings. So it was very important to be sure that the bat has been occupied during the summer. So it's therefore that we clean the bathhouses every time. And also many times we had to repair it because there are a lot of woodpeckers who destroy our bats. Sometimes the tree fall, and so we follow 150 bat houses, but we followed during 10 years. But maybe sometimes they were not the same, but on the same place and in the same type of bat houses. With some experience, we have been able to distinguish droppings from Pipistrellus than from other bats because they are very dark, they paste together usually, and they are very small. The other dropping was not, we were not able to identify which species they come from. So we had a lot of data, nearly 1,000 data of occupation or non-occupation. In this 1,000 data, we had only about 300 positive occupation, and as I said, mostly it was only the presence of dropping. Only in 70 cases we saw bats. So we have tried to determine the occupation ratio, and with this we have tried to see what was the more important factor to explain why a bathhouse was used or not used. To do such analysis, we only use the bathhouses who were placed in the area of Saint-Hubert and Virel, because on the other place it was always the same type of bathhouses, and as we will see, the same bathhouses has a very different occupation rate if they are in a forest or if they are around village. So if we will take in account only the type, we have to see and to follow the bathhouses who are placed in the same area. And now let's go to the results. As we said, the most important factor who explicates the occupation rate is the area around the bathhouses. In our study, we really see that the bathhouses placed in forests were quite successful, but that was absolutely not the case when the bathhouses are placed in gardens around village. Once again, in Wallonia we don't have really big ponds, but there are in several areas some big ponds. Mostly we have in Archy and in Virel some ponds, and we placed bathhouses there, and the results are very different. In Archy, none of the bathhouses were occupied during 10 years, but half of the bathhouses were occupied in Virel. And maybe we will see the big difference between those two areas, that in Virel it's mostly a woodland country, but in Archy you have a lot of village. this area is more heavily populated than this one, and so maybe there are a lot of other possibilities for the bats, a lot of houses that we don't find in Virel area. In the forest, we have to try to see what was the factor who influenced the occupation rate, and we have tried to distinguish if the bathhouses were placed just inside the forest, or along clearing, or on houses, huts. Because in the Saint-Hubert area, we hunt a lot, and in the forest we find a lot of huts to give food to the animals. And what we see that, of course, the more successful bathhouses were those who are placed just on the wall of those huts. After that, we see that just after that it's in the clearing, and only one of two bathhouses are occupied if they are in the forest, in the middle of the forest. Like the others, we have also tried to find if orientation had some influence, and we didn't find any influence of orientation, but as I remember, a lot of bathhouses were placed in the forest, and so they are not reached with the sun. Here we see the result of the different types that we studied, and we saw that the two best ones are this one and this one. It's always so with a quite narrow entrance. But when we are looking to the other visitors, then we see that some other models are really more interesting, but that was really not the aim of our study. For example, this one with a very great volume inside is very interesting for bee. We found a lot of bee nests in this one, but that was not the aim. For mammals, we found mostly apodemus, but also that was very interesting. No, Muscardinus, yes. So, which species of bats did we find? That, of course, we found 4 different species, but nearly all our observations were Pipistrellus pipistrellus. When we saw them, mostly they were alone, sometimes in few clusters. But we think that we found also 3 nurseries, because there was a lot of Pipistrellus, about 30, 40, 50, so maybe it's, there were nurseries, but we can't prove it because we visit in the late summer. So we just found a lot of bats, but there were no young anymore at this period. And we found in those nurseries in different types of bathhouses. About the other species, as I said, in Belgium, in your experience, we found nearly only Pipistrellus pipistrellus. We found only 5 Pipistrellus natusius in Virel, so that's near big ponds. Also 1 Nyctalus noctula, and for the Pipistrellus pipistrellus natusius, that was in late summer, so maybe it was only migratory animals. We saw Myotis bechsteini several times in the area of Saint-Hubert, but we have very great forests in this area, so it's not surprising. And in the same bathhouse, we usually found the same species of Myotis bechsteini. May I have the film? As you know, just a small film to show bathhouses. But maybe, as you know, diarrhea is a nightmare for bats. But you will see that it's maybe not the case. So we will see bat houses who is placed along a hut in the forest of Saint-Hubert. So that's the most common type. The first thing that we always are looking for is for the dropping. And here, like a lot of other time, it's Pipistrellus. And as I see, here you have a very interesting scientific document where you can see that diarrhea will not be a problem for bats. Okay. Now we shall look to the other visitors that we found in the bathhouses. The most common other visitors were birds, mostly in the bathhouses where there is a great inner volume. And the type B that we will see once again later should be for us maybe the most interesting because the inner volume is small, and so we find nearly only bats in such bathhouses. We found cold teeth, blue teeth, tree creepers. And also we can see that those bathhouses were also used during the winter for the birds. When the nights are very cold, they are spending nights in such bathhouses. We saw also mammals like Muscardinus, Apodemus, and in great bathhouses, Scirrus vulgaris. But a lot of insects and a lot of nests. Wasp, bee, bumblebee, butterfly, and so on. So let's go to discussion. So in our result, we found that the most interesting place to place such kind of bathhouses is in forests, and it's easy to understand because in forests we didn't use any pesticides, so there are still a lot of insects and a lot of bats. And also, in new silvicultures, all the hollow trees many of the hollow trees are cut, and so there are few cavities. And in Wallonia, we have now a very interesting law who say that for the Division Nature et Forêt, that they have to preserve 2 dead trees per hectare in the forest. But that should be interesting for birds, but maybe not for bats. There's a clear discrepancy between the need of bats because they need mostly alive trees. So that's maybe not also the solution. In forest, what are the main interesting places for the bathhouses is, as we said, is along huts, and we can understand that easily because we have nearly only Pipistrellus, and they often see places to roost between splices, between 2 boards, so they maybe visit often huts, and they found our bathhouses like this. Also clearing, because also, as we know, the bats often hunt in clearing, along clearing, and so they find easily also bathhouses like that. The type, we think that this one is the best one because in wood, I speak for wooden bathhouses, it's easy to build. There is a few other visitors, and we have a high success with such kinds of bathhouse. So, basing to our experience, what are the aim to placing bathhouses? The first aim that we can think is about sensibilization, and of course it can be useful because it's an easy way to show to people that it's useful to do something for bat protection. But we have to say that if we will reach a lot of people, we have to place such bathhouses around village or in cities, around schools, and there we have shown that the occupation rate is very low, and so it can induce frustration. Bathhouse as protection tools. Of course, we saw that in forest, the occupation rate of such bathhouse is quite high. But maybe it will never replace hollow trees because we found nearly only Pipistrellus pipistrellus, and a lot of other bats that we know are in the area of Saint-Hubert. We never found them in bathhouses. And same, is it interesting for Pipistrellus pipistrellus? If you go with a bat detector in the forest of Saint-Hubert, you will hear a lot of Pipistrellus pipistrellus, and we found only very few Pipistrellus pipistrellus in our bathhouses. So maybe most of the animals are outside of our bathhouses. So same for this animal, it's not interesting, and we know all that this animal is really not threatened. So it's a lot of energy for maybe not a very useful task. Some other consideration, the half-life of a bathhouse is quite short, mostly in wooden. You have to repair it, you have to replace it. And so it's very time-consuming for very few protection effects. So if you have questions.
Okay, are there any questions? Or is everyone very hungry? Okay, I see one question there.
Thank you, really interesting. Have you tried screw hooks instead of the aluminium nails? What
No.
we've found is the aluminium nails, the tree grows around the nail and then it's very hard to get the box off. So we've found really nice little screw hooks that you just screw into the tree, and as the tree grows, you just screw it out with the tree. Really, really nice.
We had few choices because most of the bathhouses in the forest of Saint-Hubert were placed on wood were designated to do boards. So it was compulsory for us. We had no choice.
Thank you for a very interesting talk. One of your preferred type of bat boxes, when you're using it in a woodland setting, how do you collect the droppings? Because I've got lots of these boxes and I've seen them being used, but I never find droppings under the box because it's a sort of woodland floor with leaves and you just don't see them.
So we open these bathhouses with a board here that we can move, and the entrance is on the other side. But there are small boards here and there to restrict the entrance, and there is always a lot of dumping there.
Brilliant idea.
Mm.
No more questions? Okay, then we are going to the lunch.